We get asked a lot of questions about our fully adjustable acoustic bridge, so I thought it would be useful to make a video just describing all the details about it and tell you a little bit about how it operates, what the design concept is, and also show you how to change strings using this bridge system. Really it's quite a step forward from the traditional acoustic bridge where you have a fixed saddle. And my motivation behind designing this was really I wanted to create an acoustic bridge that give you much better intonation, much better adjustability, and just allows for really fine tuning the setup on a guitar. Also, the other parameter was I needed to have a system that would still give me really good acoustic transmission into the guitar and also a great pickup system. So this is kind of meeting all these different parameters, and it's a really fantastic system. Looks a little bit different, but definitely don't be scared of it. So really, the concept is nothing new. This is very much a style of a saddle and bridge that you might get from an electric guitar, but it is quite new to use it on an acoustic guitar. And what we did, just to keep it in line with all our other materials, we've machined this not out of metal but out of carbon fiber. So we take a solid sheet of carbon fiber that's layered up with about 40 layers of carbon fiber. We machine this on our CNC, finish it to a beautiful satin finish, and it's a really great material that's lightweight, transmits the energy really well, and looks beautiful. So that's the material that we made it out of. The concept behind it is really to allow us to be able to set up for different string tensions and different string intonations. So what you might have noticed is maybe in the past you've changed from one type of string to the next type of string, and that can really have quite an impact on the intonation points on your guitars. We've done tests, and easily there can be 2 or 3 millimeters of variation in the intonation point from one type of string and gauge of string to another. So something really to keep in mind. So instead of having you locked into you only being able to use one type of string, one gauge of string to get perfect intonation, we've created this, and this allows you to really adjust for any type of intonation, and allows you to move the saddles both back and forward, and also we can move them up and down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a string off, and I'm going to just show you how we can adjust this. So actually I'm going to leave the string on, but I've released the tension, and that's a really important thing. If you're going to set the intonation, you do have to take the tension off, because you don't want to really be fighting against the strings here, because that puts a little bit too much pressure on the actual threads here. So as you can see, just with using a screwdriver, it allows the saddle to come back and forward, and it's really as simple as that. You bring it right back to the point that you want, and that's as simple as that for setting up the intonation. We've got a little spring in here that assists that, and it also just keeps everything in place and tight and stops it from rattling. The other element then is height adjustability. Now, I'm going to say this with a high degree of caution. When we ship our guitars, we have set them up on our Plek machine. And what we do with that is scans the fretboard, it machines the frets to within 1/1000th of a millimeter, and it helps us set up the curvature and the action height. So that's something that really you don't want to mess with too much unless you really know what you're doing and what you're going after. So try and maybe not set it, adjust things just for the sake of it, but if you feel confident, then that's what it's here for. So one of the most common things that somebody might want to adjust the height for is if they have a slightly different playing style. So say you play very light, well, there is the ability to drop this down a little bit, and literally with a couple of screws here, this will drop down the overall height of the saddle, and it's as simple as that. Now the very important thing to do is to make sure that everything is aligned and straight. If this is not totally straight and parallel, if the saddle ends up sitting off at an angle, then you can really notice a big difference whenever you actually tune it up and plug it in, because this is a pickup, and this pickup really needs nice even contact with the surface that's below it. So very important to make sure that they're adjusted to exactly the right height, everything's totally level, but that's something that you can quite easily do. So if you really feel the need to mess with it and try it, what I would do is record the number of turns that you do, and then you can easily go back to exactly where you were. So maybe try like 2 turns down, and if it doesn't feel right, or it's maybe affected the guitar too much, you can come back to exactly where it was. Same thing, maybe you're a really heavy player and you dig in and you notice that there's a little bit of buzzing coming from the guitar, then you can raise that up a little bit. So that's probably the most important area. Yes, by right you should be adjusting this in conjunction with the neck, but for this we're just going to talk about the saddles. So that's how you adjust it, up and down with the little Allen key, and back and forward with the screwdriver. But we'll have set this guitar up in advance with the right intonation points and the right action height for the string gauge, and what we would consider a really nice medium balance between playability and clean sound. So everything is always a little bit of a compromise with a guitar. If you go for the lowest action, you're not going to get the cleanest sound. But depending on your playing style, really it's always a matter of finding those parameters. And that is something that a local luthier can do really well with you. If you take it to somebody who is competent in setting up guitars and somebody who knows exactly your style, or if you were here with us, then we could make those tweaks just to match. But we're very confident we can set up a guitar with the best compromise between playability and clean sound. So that's the adjustments. Now I'm going to talk about string change. So it's really quite easy. It's really not something to be scared of. We'll just take this string off in the same way we would with any other guitar. The saddles will stay in place. They're on a little spring here, so they're not going to fall out, so you don't have to worry about that. And there's 2 methods to fitting the strings into the guitar. Personally, I do it without using any extra aids. I just pull it in here. I put a little bit of a bend on the bottom of the ball end and pull it tight, and that just goes nice and neat into the keyway. Then keeping some tension on it. Feed it through the tuner and then bring it up to pitch. But it's important when you're doing this method that you hold on to the string and keep tension on, otherwise it might bounce back out of the hole like this. The second method is to use something to block the hole, to stop it from coming out. So if we pop this in like this, and then we use literally just a golf tee, pop that down in the hole, that means it can't come back out of the slot, and that gives you both your hands to then much easier feed it back into the string. So as simple as that. Bring it back up to pitch, take your little golf tee back out again, and that's your string back on, back up to pitch, and as simple as that. So it's a very easy, simple bridge to work with. Yes, it's very different than a traditional acoustic bridge, but it's definitely nothing to worry about. The great benefit and bonus that you get from this pickup system and bridge system is that you've got 6 individual pickups here. So each one of these saddles is an individual pickup, and that gives you really great clarity, great string balance, great separation of each note, and to me it's just a wonderful sounding bridge and pickup system. So hopefully that's been useful. Hopefully you've learned a little bit from that, and keep watching. We're going to bring you more information soon.